I know that. Imagine what is this for a fan of Manchester United. Imagine what is this for me. So we are getting a new coach that is losing more than the last coach. I have full knowledge of that. Like I said, I'm not going to change, no matter what. And I know we can succeed, but we need to survive this moment because I'm not naive. And I know that we need to survive now. So we are being the worst team, maybe, in history of Manchester United.
However, Manchester United may be among the most dangerous teams in England this year.
6 months ago, in my first 3 games in charge, with 2 victories and 1 draw, I said to you, the storm is coming. Today, after this disaster season, I want to tell you, the good days are coming.
After this season of disasters, I want to assure you that better times are on the horizon. While teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal compete in 4 different competitions, United's sole goal is to rule the Premier League. And they might succeed with the team they've just assembled.
I would expect them to be in the top half.
The previous season was a complete failure. Ruben Amorim fell. The project appeared to have entirely collapsed, and the staff lacked a sense of identity.
Even with just signing Mbemo, then Ruben Amorim has to go.
However, something horrifying was developing behind the scenes. Amorim has made a monster in quiet. Furthermore, this is more than a team. This device is designed to exert pressure, control, and obliterate. Let's begin with Brian Mbeumo.
It's in towards Mbeumo. It is 4!
Last season, Brentford's most deadly player. In 38 games, he terrorized defenders with 20 goals and 7 assists. He was brought to Old Trafford by United for €75 million.
This is huge news because we've been talking about Man United needing more firepower, needing more dynamism in attack, needing more power in general. And it seems they've identified Mbeumo and he's been signed to kind of fulfill that alongside the likes of Cunha and what's already in the building. He brings goals. So the stats, and I don't drive everything on stats, the eye test has to work and match up as well, and the eye test does. But the stats are super impressive, guys, I'm telling you. 41 appearances, 20 goals, that's 1 goal every 2 games, right? And 8 assists, that's 28 goal involvements in 41 games. This guy is performing at a high level.
Then came Matheus Cunha, who was by far Wolves' best attacker. A natural finisher, a strong runner, and a creative spark. United paid more than €72 million to acquire him, and he scored 17 goals and provided 6 assists.
Taking advantage of that is Matheus Cunha at Liverpool. When he dominated shooting, and Van Dijk turned. I don't know if you remember that goal.
Yeah, he come in on the left foot.
He come inside. More often than not a lot of people will keep their calm in this type of situation. So overall, he said to people, beat me. He doesn't give you the option, you beat me. And more often than not, out of 10 times, he will win 8 or 9.
However, they didn't stop there. They went one step further and signed Diego Leion, a left-back with South American flair and composure under duress. They paid just €4 million for him, but he has a ton of potential.
The kid came from Paraguay, and it's the first week, second week in Manchester United. He did really well. He's learning things, he's powerful, he's going to be a very good player.
The nuclear signing followed. Benjamin.
Manchester United have reached an agreement with Benjamin Sesko on a 5-year contract valid until June 2030, and they are now closing in on a deal to sign the Slovenian striker. Sesko wanted Manchester United. I told you last night how my United feeling was very clear, and now the confirmation. Agreement with the player, Sesko wants to go to United, and now United in direct contact with Red Bull Leipzig to complete the agreement on the transfer fee. Still not completed between the two clubs, but negotiations underway, and then will be time for the here we go for Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United. His priority, despite efforts from Newcastle United, he wants Manchester United. Benjamin Sesko says yes to the proposal and is now closing in on a move to Man United.
RB's most valuable player, Lipek. A powerful, quick, and accurate striker, he contributed 6 assists and 21 goals in the previous campaign. For him, Newcastle made an offer of €9 million. Dortmund and Bayern were afraid of him. However, Sesko turned them all down. All he wanted was United. He is currently en route to Old Trafford with a package worth €85 million, including add-ons. Just think of that power. Leion, Cunha, Mbumo, and Sesko all show up at once. They are coming to take over, not to rebuild.
But I would say the mobility in the front areas now is something, as a defender, I'm looking at and I'm thinking differently about Manchester United's front line.
These acquisitions are horrifying. Without a doubt. However, the crown jewel isn't readily apparent when discussing tactics or who actually drives Ruben Amorim's method. Carlos Baleba is here.
You've nailed that.
They know how to press high. That's part of the game now, yeah? It's the ones behind enabling them to go and not look back. Because the moment you look back, as a midfielder or a forward, the moment's gone, they're out. If they're going confidently and they're knowing the boys behind because they're orchestrating it and telling them, you go, you go, you go, because I'm in here behind you, they're not going to get out, gives you a chance. Baleba, his biggest thing for me is being able to transfer the ball from the back line in our back area through to the 8s and the 10s. Yeah. Either driving with it or turning and getting it and playing.
Yeah, that's what we don't have.
Yeah, that's what we're losing.
No, you've nailed that. When I look at our midfield, I do see it pressing high. And then I wonder why we're getting absolutely walloped on the transition. And you're right, yeah, you'd be the 6 in there. And that's where that extra player comes from. And just takes it back to that understanding of like a 4-3-3. You go in there, you do that, you stop that middle run.
Just stop the transition.
Oh, now I'm excited. Joe, I'm excited now.
Now we're fixed. Don't do that.
The teenage midfielder, who is widely regarded as one of the Premier League's most promising players, has an incredible combination of raw aggression and sophisticated knowledge. He has an exceptional tackle success rate. He has some of the finest front foot defense in the league. More significantly, his understanding of the game complements Amorim's ball-dominant, high-pressing approach flawlessly. However, labor is more than just a signing. He serves as everything else's metronome, anchor, and silent destruction. And with him at its center, this new United appears inevitable rather than merely frightening. And Ruben Amorim, a tactical genius who is passionate about attacking football, will lead them. His teams press high with vigor and purpose, deploy 3 center-backs, and play with quick, short passes. He now has Bruno Fernandes and Rasmus Hland leading the way.
By his word, he said if you don't do this, you're not going to play. He's showing that and proving that. But to get the fear factor, you got to win. You got to win. You got to show that you can win. Yeah. Then the belief comes, I'm going to follow this geezer. It's like Sir Alex Ferguson. I was following that guy blind.
Big names aren't the only ones involved. This is a total change. Manchester United may not be in Europe, but it just makes them more dangerous. Focus, relaxation, and 38 Premier League games, no midweek diversions or rotation issues. This group is ravenous. This group is explosive. Premier League cautious if they click. Manchester United is a new player in the battle for the championship. This Manchester United team has a lot of untapped potential, experience, and youth. However, we must begin with Benjamin Sesko if we are to fully comprehend this team's direction.
Sesko at 11, the way I think you can question Kobbie Mainoo 15. The difference is obviously centre forwards I think are more of a commodity than central midfielders who can pass.
The first time I saw Sesko, he was playing for Salzburg, and the comparison that struck me straight away with his power on his left foot with Robin van Persie. He just had that about him, and that is obviously a high bar to meet. But at 2021, what was Van Persie? He's definitely got that ability in him to progress to be a top striker. But I do think that he's young. He needs to develop. His centre forwards, apart from Erling Haaland, don't tend to mature till the mid-20s. So I think he's definitely one that's destined for a big move, and whoever gets him, if they're patient with him, have a really good centre forward.
I agree.
Because something is changing when a striker like Sesko chooses your idea over others, even if Newcastle is offering substantial financial compensation.
Very clearly how Man United were more than confident, feeling that Benjamin Sesko only wanted to join them. Last week, I told you, don't underestimate Manchester United.
After years of turmoil and inconsistency, it's an indication that players still want to wear the Manchester United emblem, which says a lot.
It still has a special place in people's imagination. It is a huge club. Your value in terms of individual endorsements is going to go up to another level.
The Red Devils are in the midst of a transfer window that is exceeding all expectations. The headline is Sesko. The 22-year-old striker was the target of bids from United and Newcastle. After bonuses, Newcastle even made an offer of €80 million, but Sesko made it plain that he preferred to play at Old Trafford.
Any green light to any other club this summer. So the only case where Benjamin Sesko says, okay, this contract is okay, this agreement is done, is with Manchester United. Full stop.
United haven't yet agreed a fee with.
Although United and RB Leipzig have not yet reached a fee agreement, things are going well. An offer of at least €85 million is being prepared. The only reason it hasn't been finalized is that they wanted to make sure the player was on board before moving further. And how can United make a move like this? This is the problem. They've been astute. Incredibly intelligent. They are saving £13 million annually by reducing Rashford's pay. Additionally, they are selling players for about €21 million, spreading payments for Mbamo and Cunha, profiting from Chelsea's punishment over Sancho, and even reducing significant operating expenses by laying off employees. Because of all of this, Sesko now has the financial flexibility to become Old Trafford's next big number 9. It's not a panic purchase. This is calculated because Manchester United appears to have a plan for the first time in a long time.
Be very long. So let's see. Can be really any moment because the two clubs are in direct contact, and then Benjamin Sesko is expected to become a new Manchester United player.
What does Benjamin bring to Manchester United, then? He hits the ball like a hammer and is tall and powerful. Sesko is a 6 feet 5 inches tank-like vehicle with a wild rudder that moves like a speedboat. Fast but chaotic. He is the type of striker who resembles a video game cheat code.
Well, given away here to Sesko for Leipzig. Sesko!
Here's the twist, though. Despite his strength and flair, he isn't reliable in all circumstances. Scouts describe the 22-year-old Slovenian as raw. When he runs in a straight line, he is a monster. He plays with a relentless aggressiveness that makes center-backs detest their job, and he has a tremendous long-range shot. However, he also has a tendency to overcomplicate things in the box and waste simple opportunities. Sesko gained recognition in Austria and on to grow in Germany, where he was initially compared to Erling Haaland. That's a great compliment. Even though he isn't there yet, the foundation is.
Yeah, well, the last former Red Bull Salzburg striker who came to Dortmund and went to Manchester, he did okay, Erling Haaland. So Sesko, he's not he's a kind of same player, but I don't expect him to go all that in, but he's a great player.
He will fire from any location. Headers, left foot, right foot, you name it. He doesn't consider things twice. That self-assurance may or may not be effective. He makes erratic shots from the left half space. Although he still needs to work on his mobility inside the 6-yard box, his mere presence confuses opponents. Additionally, men like Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha may be able to take advantage of the confusion.
The mobility in the front areas now is something, as a defender, I'm looking at and I'm thinking differently about Manchester United's front line. I'll be sitting there going, I'm going to have a physical presence up there. I'm going to have a physical test from all 3 positions, and I've got people that can run and move up there. They're mobile. They're the things I was asking for.
Now, this is nothing new to United supporters. Young workers on projects who never quite clicked. Thus, it is reasonable to inquire, is this one more?
Docker or Sesko, which one? I'm not really sure. He's coveted, he's scoring goals. It's not like he scored just like 9 goals for Atalanta like Rasmus did and he's gone up. I do believe he's better than Rasmus, but I'm still very, very scarred from getting these young kids and banging all the pressure on them.
The only difference is Rasmus came in and had up front inexperience around him in terms of Garnacho one side, Ahmad the other, for instance, most of the time.
And then Anthony.
If Sesko comes in, he's got 2 red players that have played Premier League, and scored goals in the Premier League, backed up by Bruno. So I think it's a different environment and dynamic that he comes into.
To be fair, Sesko has played more senior football, possibly at a higher level, than Highland. However, Old Trafford is under extreme pressure. You are not guaranteed to be great just because you can be. When Sesko reacts instead of overanalyzing, his best moments occur. Because of his lack of subtlety, keepers frequently read him well when he aims for the far post, and defenders may occasionally block his shots with ease. The cost of being raw is that paying €85 million on a striker who isn't the final product carries the same danger. The system developed by Ruben Amorim might be useful. Although it won't happen automatically, his 343 has room for a striker like Sesko.
Is that player right now that takes Manchester United from 15th to 6th? That's a hell of a jump. Maybe in time and given his age, he progresses to become that player, but I'm just not sure that he is right now. And that's a big ask of a 20-year-old, regardless.
It's true that Sesko won't quickly adjust to the Premier League. However, Ruben Amorim is a coach who has the ability to transform untapped potential into an unstoppable force. Take a look at what he did to Victor Gyökeres. In Portugal, Amorim turned Guerreiro into a monster, a complete attacker who blended strength, quickness, and cunning. Additionally, they have several characteristics in common even though Sesko isn't quite the same type of player. In public areas, both are explosive. Both enjoy spearheading quick breaks and have the ability to score goals with either foot from a distance. Sesko gets fascinating at that point. He's not your average number. 9 people are waiting for service in the box. After making a deep drop to retrieve the ball, he connects with his teammates and charges ahead at full speed. He has the strength to shake off opponents and the quickness to traverse through confined locations. It's uncommon to find that combination of skill and power, and United has been lacking it. Above all, Sesko provides the goals that this Manchester United team sorely needs. However, he is not by himself.
The whole Man United squad got last year, so that's a huge improvement in that sense. 2 of those guys have played in the Premier League and have scored goals here. Sesko now has to go and transfer his form, his goals, his menacing play at times into the Premier League.
Manchester United must rediscover what made it great in the first place if it hopes to cease being a shadow of its former self. Brutal transition assaults, strong defense, aggressive pushing, and direct play. Matheus Cunha brings precisely that to the table. Bruno Fernandes is frequently the lone player who is always looking ahead, whereas the majority of United's current players delay with the ball, holding on to it for a second too long or playing it sideways. However, one guy cannot accomplish everything. Cunha becomes crucial in this situation.
Between the midfield and the attack, who knows who the starting striker is going to be for Manchester United next season, but if it is a target man or an out-and-out true striker, if he sticks with Højlund or goes and signs someone else, this is the guy who can link the two together.
Cunha is more than just a winger or a striker. In addition to making runs behind defense when space opens up, he is a connector who drops into midfield to create plays from the back. Whether it's through deft passes or assured dribbles, he's a player who breaks lines. It's about meaning, not merely flair. He seizes opportunities to advance when he sees them. No second-guessing or recycling possessions for no other reason. He propels the ball ahead. He searches for balls that are through. He puts defenders in awkward situations. For years, United has been lacking a player like him. As a left-sided number 10, a right-sided creative outlet, or even a fake 9 when necessary, Cunha can flourish in a system such as Amorim's 3-4-3. He is not scared to take chances in the last third, has a good sense of space, and knows when to drag defenders out of shape. Since joining Wolves, he has played about 70% of all potential minutes. A dependable and diligent engine.
They've lacked match winners. He seems to be that. You mentioned there, the goals are easy to look at, but sometimes you see him dropping deep, getting the ball on the half-term and setting up the attack, and then getting on the end of it to score goals. Yeah, and that will be really attractive to Amorim.
Very attractive.
Cunha possesses the unpredictable, slippery, and constantly two-step-ahead Brazilian chaos factor, yet he balances it with tactical precision. He may not yet be a superstar, but that's not necessary in this system. All he has to do is be himself. A player who can use the ball to advance the team. The acquisition of Matheus Cunha was one of Manchester United's best summertime decisions. Cunha frequently played in a 3,421 formation, which is extremely close to the structure that Ruben Amorim intends to deploy at Old Trafford, not only because of his skill set but also because he was accustomed with the system under both Julian Leighton and Gary O'Neill at Wolves. Thus, he is not entering a brand new environment. With superior players surrounding him, he is taking on a role he is already familiar with. However, it goes beyond tactical fit. It's about what Cunha offers that United hasn't had in a long time. He is erratic.
He's a manager that has improved players at our clubs he's been at. He's a manager that clearly wants Cunha because he's involved in the transfer process. And I don't see a player who scored 15 goals from an XG of 8.6 last season at a Wolves team that weren't very good, who sold their best players in the summer, Max Kilman and Pedro Neto, and he still gave you 15 goals and missed a bit of the season as well. I don't see how he goes to Manchester United and gets worse or the output goes down. I think he continues his trajectory, and I think he will be a very good signing for Manchester United.
Is 15 goals this season good for a Man United striker if they want to be challenging?
He's not a striker though. He's not a striker. I don't think he'll play number 9. I think he'll be one of those players behind the number.
You now have a striker who is genuinely reliable. Matheus Cunha, who plays just behind the number 9, is one of them. But what happens if you include Bumo and Brian? The response is complete mayhem for the opposing defenders.
Bearing in mind we were 16th in terms of goals scored last season.
42 goals, Leo.
These lot are getting you minimum 40 goals between them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not going to match one for one what they've already got.
Exactly.
They won't match one for one. If you get all three of them, you can't. I mean, what if they do? We're top 4, right? If they manage that, but they won't. If they come and they get,
if you get 10, 10, 15.
Nice.
Killed it.
It doesn't need to be necessarily one guy who scores all the goals. I'm with you. For me, it'd be amazing to just get that one guy.
The addition of Bumo might drastically alter United's offensive strategy. Indeed, he might have exceeded his projected targets in the previous season. However, that is not the entire tale. Additionally, he gave his teammates excellent opportunities and was unfortunate not to finish with more assists. Because of his skill and Brentford's deadly set-piece style, he is a wide player who consistently takes the ball into hazardous places, particularly the 6-yard box. More significantly, Cunha and Mbeumo were among the Premier League's most aggressive and forward-thinking players in terms of passing and dribbling. For the majority of the previous season, this United team lacked precisely that. There was little to no desire to disrupt defensive lines or push the ball forward outside of Bruno Fernandes. Mbeumo contributed significant value in wide areas with his dribbles and deft movements, while Cunha excelled at driving attacks from deeper zones. When together, they provide something that United hasn't had in a long time: multi-lane inventiveness. Fernandes can no longer be simply shut down. Now you have to deal with Mbeumo cutting inside like a knife and Cunha weaving between balls. Even though Mbeumo has an intriguing profile, his effectiveness can be misleading. His shooting volume was low, just 2.2 shots per 90 minutes, among players who scored 10 or more goals in the Premier League the previous season. However, he had an exceptional conversion rate. He scored 20 goals out of just 12.3 that were anticipated, a startling 7.7 overperformance. When given enough time and room, he can be lethal, particularly in the left half area where he enjoys cutting inside and taking risks with his left foot. Without the ball, he is not extremely aggressive. Instead, he frequently waits for the right opportunity to attack. He won't pursue fullbacks or apply intense pressure. And a large portion of his opportunities were created by set pieces, penalties, corners, and free kicks that he won't have at United. Additionally, United will want greater defensive stability as they bolster their offense with Cunha, Fernandes, and Mbeumo all pressing forward. The wingbacks must cover a lot of territory by cleverly overlapping. If not, the midfield's failure to reset or the wingbacks getting caught too high might expose United's backline during a transition. Manchester United's midfield needs to be fixed for just this reason. Even if you bring in every attacker on the planet, you won't be able to make the connection between offense and defense. You will never succeed if you are unable to construct the play. Bruno Fernandes can help with that. He has vision, intelligence, creativity, and leadership qualities. But let's face it, Bruno hasn't been at his best in a very long time. Why?
When Amorim wants it to function, there won't be the big spaces, and they won't be playing transition football. It'll happen sometimes, but Amorim's ideal way of playing isn't for having transitional football, which we've been having a lot of, which exposes the inadequacies of the midfield players that we've got and the profile that we have there. So if they can change that, then it changes.
This team runs the risk of being the same old story without that structure. Inconsistent outcomes, eye-catching names, and no awards. Diego Leon's signing is therefore more significant than most people understand. He is more than just a fullback with potential. He is a weapon. Quick, forceful, and strong in one-on-one jewelry. More significantly, though, he is skilled at breaking lines. Driving from deep positions into opposing territory like a freight train, he carries the ball with authority. And that's gold in Amorim's system. Diego Leon has already contributed his first preseason assist, but his impact extends beyond the numbers. In addition to maintaining width, he attacks the box, provides passing lanes, and keeps opponents guessing all the time. He constantly shifts and scans, and when he advances, he does so with genuine conviction. United hasn't had a fullback like this in a long time. Someone who runs with intention rather than just for fun. Someone who can launch themselves forward during a transition after defending in a block. A player who is adept at both order and chaos. Diego Leon has all the components: positional knowledge, endurance, speed, and an offensive mindset, but he's not quite there yet. Leion could be one of the most important components of this renovation in Amorim's tactical form, where wingbacks must be both defenders and creators. Sesko, Cunha, and Mbeumo are Manchester United's three new attacking weapons, but if they want this project to succeed, they still need to get one last component. An anchor in the midfield. Yes, the team already has KBU, Mason Mount, and Ugart, but they need more depth and control in the engine room if they want to avoid crumbling under duress like they did last season. Carlos Baleba can help with that.
Remains the case, because Manchester United in the recent hours have approached the camp of Carlos Baleba, the top midfielder from Brighton, to tell them that they have a serious interest in the player.
Carlos Baleba is more than just a smart addition. He is the piece of the puzzle that Manchester United was unaware they needed. Leion Baleba, who Brighton signed for little under £26 million, had a tremendous season in the Premier League with 40 games, 4 goals, and 2 assists. However, don't let the figures deceive you. When the ball is not at his feet, he is very valuable. He is a front-footed destroyer who is constantly ahead of the game by reading it. Baleba is already there, snapping into tackles, intercepting passes, and stopping rhythm before it even starts when the opposition is merely attempting to settle in. However, intense pressing and quick transitions are the cornerstones of Ben Amorim's tactical approach. Baleba is a perfect fit for it. When the team loses the ball, he leads the effort to get it back instead of freaking out. He is the type of midfielder who never stops moving, tracking, and reading space whether United is pushing high or defending deep.
Baleba, his biggest thing for me is being able to transfer the ball from the back line in our back area through to the 8s and the 10s.
According to
The Athletic claims that when his team is behind, he is an above-average defense. That's precisely what United has been lacking. A midfield hunter who converts defense into quick counterattacks. Furthermore, it goes beyond tackles. Bell is also capable of maintaining possession under duress. He avoids making dangerous passes. He doesn't exaggerate. He establishes the rhythm, switches the ball wisely, and keeps things straightforward. Even if he doesn't provide line-breaking assists, he is the one who maintains a steady tempo so others can. Consider him the silent defender in midfield, the one who ensures Matheus Cunha and Bruno Fernandes may advance with the knowledge that the back door is locked. In other words, if Manchester United signs Baleba, they are creating a tactical core rather than merely acquiring a midfield player. With Casemiro's collapse, they are at last making up for what they lost. Brighton is aware of the issue. They intend to hold on to Bella until his value soars. And this agreement can fall through if United doesn't make a daring move this summer. However, United cannot afford to leave the midfield vulnerable after making significant investments in their front line. When Leion charges into the box, Bruno pushes forward, and Cunha drifts wide to make room. They need someone to hold the fort.
In the story, see this deal as very difficult because Baleba is a top player for Brighton. Baleba is a crucial player for them. Brighton don't want to lose the player. Brighton want Baleba to stay and to be a crucial part of Fabian Huelsl's squad for the upcoming season.
At last, Manchester United has a legitimate team. Not a patchwork of squandered opportunities and overpaid veterans. Not a bewildered team that stumbled from the Europa League to obscurity in the middle of the table. This time, it's different because United has a team that makes football sense for the first time in years. The Champions League does not include them. Their biggest advantage may be that they aren't even in the Europa League. United can concentrate solely on the Premier League while Arsenal, City, Chelsea, and Liverpool battle difficult midweek games. They'll be able to save their legs for Saturday. No excuses, no midweek collapses. The numbers speak for themselves, and this is their opportunity to gain momentum week after week. This season, Konesko and Mummo might easily score more than 30 goals together. That is 90% of United's total output from the previous campaign. Add Adams' clear vision, Fernandes, and Adden. Old Trafford no longer feels like a cemetery. It seems like a trap. The Premier League is in danger. Because there is no buzz surrounding this trio. It's not wishful thinking. It's an issue. The kind of issue that title contenders don't anticipate until it's too late. So feel free to question them. However, keep in mind that the sleeping monster is awake when Shisho is scoring goals, Cunha is destroying midfields, and Ambio is dancing past fullbacks. Like the video, subscribe to Kickster Facts, and turn on notifications for real football facts you won't hear anywhere else.